And now the next one is like which kind of signal science we can to inference about the indirect valid things. And then is the verse 33. A reason is information that allows us to know something else. The reason must be a feature of the subject. And there must be positive and negative logical provision. When these three modes are presented, there can be no delusions. And through these signals, there's three modes mode of the feature of the subject. Okay, one mode is feature of the subject, and second mode is the negative or the positive, and third one is the negative. You can to say positive logical pervasion and negative logical pervasion. Maybe if you can to say that three modes are a feature of the subject, and then is the positive logical pervasion and negative logical pervasions. These three are the three modes. And then a reason information says we rely on something else, the something signals or something science, and that is the feature of the subject. And this feature of the subject, this one, it is the science. For example, the science of smoke. Science of the smoke, that is the feature of the subject. Do you understand? Okay. And then it's like on that, that the feature of the subject of the smoke, and then is the negative logical pervasion. The pervasion is saying behind there is the fire. Negative. The negative, maybe you can to say is the signal of the smoke and the feature subject of the smokes, and then is the negative logical pervasion means is behind there is water. Then is the smoke, the science is cannot establish from the water. Okay, for example, we can to say it's like the compounded computers, the feature of the subject or the signals, and then you can to say on that impermanent, because then after, because you go to the positive logical pervasion to say is compounded. Compounded it is impermanent because of the compounded things. The signal of these compounded things, you establish impermanent on this. Impermanent is confirmed that these compounded things, yes?
Is it positive or negative?
And negative, if you say it's like, oh, this computer is permanent because of the compounded.
This is negative.
Then in negative, because if it is the permanent, then how you can to say the compounded? Permanent, uncompounded. And like this the signals, direct to see the signals, and then it's like we need to, after the provision, you can to say it's like, after forward, I would to say is the after forward, there's two things, positive and negative. After forward, yes, after forward, first signals, then you are saying something, it is impermanent or it is like this first signals, then you can to say, for example, like a signal of the how do you say, the signal, here is said the feature of the subject of the smoke. Now what you are going to establish? What you are going to establish? You're going to establish the fire. Okay? Then it's like, according this signal, according this feature object, and surely I can to think about indirectly, there is the valued things of the fire. And then they says then you can to say, then there is the fire. Why? Because of the smoke. Smoke is come from the fire. According to the smoke, you can to establish, you can understand indirectly, it is like the fire is there. Like this kind of, then it's like you can to establish all the cause, which you can say, barley cause, science the barley cause. And then it's like through that, I put in the earth, I will harvest barley. But your harvest autumn next, then this autumn's the harvest, for the barley harvest, before you put in your seed of the barleys, you don't know futures. This is future, the result. But current, this cause, the signal, the feature of the subjects, it can produce, because I have, conceptually, a conceptual mind, direct, I saw that. Barley cause, in the result, the barley. And that is, I have this is experience. And then is like, some is like cause, making the maturation is like maybe immediately, maybe few days, maybe few months, maybe few years, maybe few lifetimes, maybe few eons times, sometime like this. Then it's like the causality is like this. But it's like, then how we can to understand the causalities, direct valued phenomena, analyze the direct valid cognitions, what is the cause, like the functional cause to affect. We understand rice is not depends the barleys. Barleys never produce the rice. Barleys correctly produce barley. Rice correctly produce rice. This is the like kind of like this. Okay, now I understand. Now, then it's like cause this duration, periods, and maturation is. Maybe, for example, now our like the fields here. In the some is like modern times, we say it's like these durations, and like the how do you say, barleys or rice or some in vegetables. You put today, maybe 1 week after you have already grow up. Maybe it's like some in the hot countries, you put this month, maybe 1 or 2 months you to take out, you have harvested, you can make it again. Some in the cold, a little cold lands, you do in the springs, completely you need waiting for the autumns, no choice. And like this, some cause result immediately, some causes result a little bit, some causes in the futures. And therefore, now it is like the valid things to apply these things are. And then it's like, this is like we call the three mode, okay? Three mode. He said the three mode. Mode I don't like. Anyway, it is like three mode, three characteristics. Not three characteristics. Sorry, this is the Tsursumri. This is the Tsursumri. Three characteristics. This is Tsursumri, three mode. What do you mean modes? No, give me explain. Mode means I have the Chasa mode. What does it mode?
A way of doing something.
Huh?
A way of doing something.
Mode. Okay. There are many translations. They translated mode, but I'm a little bit using that one is hesitation. But if you want to, of course, three mode, okay? Maybe we can in the future choose memorize the three mode. But it's like, which one? It's like in our book, this translators, nice translated, the feature of the subject and positive logical perversion, negative logical perversions. These are the mode they presented. There can be no diluted self. And then it's like any kind of it is like to analyze and things are. And then it's like if you apply these three mode, each phenomenon. For example, we can to say this Raja. Can you apply three mode? How you can to apply three mode? Okay, this itself is the signal, okay, sign. And also this self is like the feature of the subject. Then on that we need to say positive logical perversion, negative logical perversions. To establish, okay? And this is like, argued in Tibet, debate is like this. And sometimes someone says, make joke, okay? This vajja of the feature of the subject, it is permanent. And then it's like you need to logical, like the negative logical perversion or the positive logical perversions, what you want to say. And if you say, it's like, oh, that is the negative logical perversions, and then this person says, why? Because this is a compounded. Compounded is never exist in the permanent. And this one is like the feature of the subject is impermanent because compounded. Then is the after the forward provisions, it is goes through the correctly the feature of the subject because this one is the subject goes on impermanent. Why? Because this is compounded, not only single. And compounded is like the particles. Compounded are like kind of memories. Compounded is organism. And at that perspective, it is like, then it's like the other persons to say is like this. Okay, this one is like the feature of the subject. It is the impermanent. You say it's like, that is like a prevent. You can choose to give the prevent.
What is prevent?
Prevent means it's like you agree. Prevent. The establishment is prevent. Because you say is that this one is the impermanent, because it is the compounded, and then according to go to through like this, then is you establishing right, wrong, pursue, avoid. And for example, it's like you can say this vegetations. You can say this vegetation is a feature of the subject, And then you need to apply the positive, the logical provision, negative logical provisions. You say this, the feature of the subject is can eatable because you need to say something. Is a cucumber? Can you do like this exercise?
Can you give us one example?
Huh?
One more example. For example, about the cucumber. Cucumber is edible.
Edible, because maybe you can do another explain. Cucumber is like eatable because it is grow up at something, or at the, like there's like generations we ate it, and something like this. You need to your provision. It is the logical provision is should to goes the positive or negative. If you give the negative, then is the other ones this denial, objections, they say.
So would it be like, it isn't poisonous because we have the proof?
Home vegetables. It's like of more human meat, human food.
It's poison because it's coming from corn.
Okay.
Just on chain of stuff.
Ah.
But is it like this?
You can to say yes, something different. Maybe can you is a little bit. I not go more further. And this three mode apply the each phenomenon, and each the object of the phenomenon. Can you apply these three mode? And according to here is the feature of the subject, positive logical provision, negative logical provisions. If you analyze to these three things, then you can to debate.
For the cucumber, for example, what would be the reverse provision?
Negative, maybe we can to say is this cucumber is uneatable, and maybe it is like to. Then you can to say is that because of the human food, because you say it's the uneatable, and then it's like the feature of the subject, it doesn't go what you saying things. It's not according to that. It doesn't go according to with the first subject, first the feature of the subject. After what you saying things, it must go according to first this one. And then is the next one is normally is negative logical provision, positive logical provision is like more because. Okay? Because this and because that. And then is like through that is like a scientific way. It is like in the we can to the how do you say is the relative realities debate, which is pursue, avoid. Finally is what is correct, what is incorrect, to making the distinctions. And through these signals to understand the relative realities, and then easily to understand that in the futures, in fears. I'm all the time say it's like the in fear forward means it's like futures. You can say the prophecy, or in the futures is like imagine. It's like sometimes it's like people's. Most times it's like science also like this, looking the signals. For example, if you go to the Mongolias, the sheep bone and the come from part of this, very thin, and they look in the morning, early morning, look in the sky, sun is coming through this, and then there is like kind of the sign of the light. Oh, today, tomorrow is weather is good. Oh, today, tomorrow is weather bad. They can to say exactly that. Because they establish this kind of the signals inside, and then you are not omniscient, but almost omniscient. You can to in the future you can to tell like this.
And this is forward.
This is to how to establish in the forward. Okay, no. This is we are now more and more we studied most of the direct, valid phenomena of the connect to the relative things, using that there's 4 valid cognitions, valid cognition faculties, valid cognition mental, valid cognition self-awareness, valid cognition the yogis. Through this, and we establish the relative things. Through these signals, now we are going to next perform the syllogism. Absolutely, and the Antonio want to debate next time is in the and the Toma is ready, ready to Allah. Not now, okay, afternoon. What is the questions? Okay, this is microphone. What?
My question is, what is the difference between these 3 and the syllogism?
History.
No. These 3 things we are talking about, like reason, feature of the subject.
This is the inner, the
Is the same as syllogism?
syllogism in logical. This is logical.